Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to give it a second. It normally cuts off the beginning. But hey, welcome to the September 2023 live stream. And I see there are a couple comments already, so I will get to those as soon as I can. My computer is here in the background, and I'm waiting for it to bring up the chat. Also, you guys, I know you can see this. Don't worry about that. That's the edge of a chair I'm using as a tripod because all my stuff's in storage. And this is like a counter over here you can see here in the background. So first of all, I just wanted to say I was not really planning on having a live stream, not this week anyway. September's a weird month. I think I basically thought that I had another week and it would be next weekend. But Saturday's the 30th. It's a short month, so there's no 31st. And then, yeah, anyway, it was just a weird scheduling thing. So this came a week earlier than I thought, and I just happened to think like 2 days ago that I needed to actually check the calendar and see when I needed to schedule it. So, yeah, with that all the way, I am in the same place. I'm in my co-working space that I've been the last two live streams. It is also Sunday, which is one of our cleaning days here, so just know, good possibility at some point the cleaners will be around. They know by sure, or know, of course, like the crazy guy that talks to himself and talks to his computer, so, you know, that'll be that'll be pretty normal for them. But just so you guys know, if you see me talking to someone or there's something going on in the background. So, that being said, I've got the chat up here, so let me start with that. I'm gonna move this light here in a second. So Poe says, oh damn, my wife wants to do grocery shopping and I think I have to chauffeur. Maybe I can talk her out of it, but I didn't realize it was midday. I thought 6 or 7 in the evening. Yeah, I always try to do the live streams at 3 on the last Sunday of the month, but you know, filming location, life circumstances, things like that happen, and it changes it. But generally it's at 3 o'clock. The reason it's so early is because there were some people who were overseas that this is like late night for them. So yeah, I don't really want to do any earlier in the day. I'm not a morning person at all, but this is a good balance I found for a while for a time that works for people. Yeah, but I mean, if you need to go get groceries, I mean, feel free. And of course, you can always just watch this back. We were about to die. Salute you. Oh, I was just talking to Poe. Okay. TM USA. Just saying hi. Hey. Glad you're here. Let's see, Max says, how do you handle your critics? Well, to be fair, like, I don't really have that many. In the early days of this channel, I used to get an incredible amount of hate. Like, an incredible amount of hate on this channel. I mean, more downvotes than upvotes, just horrible comments. And once I got rid of most of the Dave Ramsey people, that was where it was all coming from. So once I got rid of them, that was the solution to most of it. But I do the same thing now as I do back then. And that's, you know, I was a psych major, right? So the idea with like customer service, which, no, like that entire concept is bullshit. But the customer is usually wrong. But here's the thing. I am nice to everyone always. Like, even if they're being a dick to me, I'm still nice back. But I'm not going to tolerate bad behavior. So if somebody comes in the comments attacking me or whatever, and I know you guys have seen this on some of the live streams where, you know, people will say some stuff that's not cool. I make sure to express my views in a calm and reasonable manner as possible. But I don't in any way reward the behavior. That's the bullshit of customer service, you know. You don't want somebody coming in here doing something or saying something horrible and then you're just like so nice and kind to them back and be like, oh, thank you for commenting. No, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not gonna put up with that. Get off here. And that's the thing. You can't reward. You cannot reward bad behavior because then it just, they're going to do it again. It rewards them and incentivizes them to do it again. If you want somebody to not do something, you have to give them a negative consequence. So I can be somewhat polite, but also tell someone to fuck off. And that's what needs to happen in order to curb that behavior. And it's been pretty effective on the channel. So let's see. We Who Are About to Die salute you says, if there is one thing I dislike doing, it is grocery shopping or clothes shopping. My mom would take me and I would get cranky when I was little. Hate it. Yeah, no, I hated it when I was little. Now I don't mind grocery shopping, other than the whole spending money part. Clothes shopping I actually would think is kind of positive. I kind of like that, but I don't do it much, obviously. You guys see my videos, I've had the same clothes for like 5 years or more. I very rarely buy anything new, but I don't mind that. Now, right, when I was a little kid with my mom, oh my god, it was terrible. Bored out of my mind all the time. And my mom would go into like Walden Books, which is like a bookstore that used to exist, and she would just be in there for hours. And I just have no mental stimulation, and I would just be miserable. Poe says, glad to have another live stream. All of us love your content. You got to know that, Mark. We all look forward, or at least I sure do, to any content you do release. Well, hey, man, I appreciate that. You guys know I've got so much going on in my life right now. I've got the lawsuit. I'm building business in order to have the income to be able to just sustain myself. And that is why I'm not making videos, is just because I'm doing it, I'm succeeding, but it is a brutal struggle, and I can't add anything else to the mix. So it's just like I said in my financial goals at the beginning of the year, I have to focus on 2 things this year: making money and a lawsuit. And so that's why there's so much stuff, so many videos I want to make telling you guys stuff, whether it just be an update video or there's like actual content I want to put out. But I keep thinking, okay, I can't do that till February. I have to focus on this other thing. And so in the meantime, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing the monthly live streams, and then I will try, and it will happen every once in a while, to get something else out. But no promises, especially the next 2 months. October and November are probably gonna be the busiest months of my life. Then I will pretty much have December, where I have a little bit of a break, but our trial is like early to mid-February. So January is going to be like pretty much exclusively full-time job preparing for that. Let's see here. SB says, last time you mentioned that your dad tried to run your life, what was he doing? What was your last straw? Oh, that's kind of hard to say, because the thing is, that ended back in 2006. Now my dad's still alive, and even back in 2019, he reached out to me again. There's been a lot of stuff, but the thing is, my dad tries to spend every moment of every day with me. And that might not sound that bad, I mean, especially if you don't have your dad in your life, but it was stuff like him calling the police on me for going to my college class because I left the house, trying to control me with money constantly, whether it was trying to get me to stay there for free, or like if I was really broke, he would take advantage of that and make me go out to lunch or dinner with him, which, yes, he would pay, but it was just his way of getting me to spend time with him when I didn't want to. Because my dad's not somebody that you want to be around. He's pretty off-putting, and he's not, I don't know how to say it. He's not nice, and he's just overtly very controlling. And then to answer your question, like the last straw, it had to do, it was kind of a series of things. It had to do with me getting my driver's license. I don't know if I've mentioned this on here, but I didn't get my driver's license until I was 19, and that was because of my parents, like all of them. That's also a very long story, but basically I had learner's permit after learner's permit ever since I was 15, and they would never let me get my license. And you might be like, well, you're an adult, you can go get your license. But you can't, because even if you're an adult and you still don't have your driver's license, you have to get a car to go take the test. Well, who has a car? Well, my parents. They're the only people I know. And so they were using that as a means to control me as well. And toward the end, after my dad finally, after literal years, agreed to let me use his car, then after I got my driver's license, he then wouldn't let me drive his car anywhere, even to chauffeur him around, because, I mean, he was making it, he was using it clearly as control and doing it as long as possible. Like, he'd be like, okay, well, now you can't do this until you take a training course on vehicle maintenance. And now you're going to have to go and you're going to have to show me that you know how to do all of this emergency stuff, like lighting a roadside flare and all this stuff. And it was like so obvious that he was just trying to throw up hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, to the point where I would never be independent of him. And then there was the whole calling the police because I went to class. That happened several times. Reporting his car stolen, even though he told me, that I could use it to go to class. But he was mad that I went to class. And then there was, and then he got mad when I finally bought a car. And I mean, I lived in the apartment next to him. You could hear him literally screaming through the walls to his friend that's a paralegal, that they've been friends since elementary school, that my dad was going to try to find some way to stop me from having my own car. And it was an issue of freedom. He just absolutely would not. And so I don't remember exactly what the last thing was. It had something to do with me getting that car, and then him being creepy and doing some weird stuff after that. And then it interfering with my school and me going to school, and then him trying to hold his tax papers hostage so that I couldn't get financial aid to go to school because I got selected for verification for FAFSA. And it was just a whole thing. And finally, it ended up my mom rented a U-Haul and moved me out in the middle of the night. Like, I literally never spoke to my dad from 2006 to... He reached out to me in 2013, I think. So we didn't talk for 7 years. And then I ended up not meeting up with him in 2013 because he started being creepy. And then again in 2019, he popped back up, and he was being super creepy and controlling and manipulative. And so, yeah. So, I mean, I guess to answer your question, the final straw was something to do about me getting a car and some of the more controlling stuff he did after that. But I do not want you guys to think that my mom is innocent. She is just as manipulative and controlling. She got me out of that situation probably just to try to get more control herself. And you guys know that as of last year, about a year ago, she's no longer speaking to me because I won't just drop everything that I'm doing to go do something for her that she's known about for months and didn't tell me. So, yeah, so my mom hasn't spoken to me in a year. And it's, again, because I stood up for myself, and everybody hates that so much. Okay, so getting back to comments here. Max says, why do you not like Dave Ramsey? Well, That's kind of a difficult question. I mean, I don't like him as a person because he's an asshole. Um, he just has a terrible attitude and he's really mean to people. He's also more often than not just wrong. Like the information that he gives is just incorrect. And if you don't agree with him, fuck you. That's his attitude. And I mean, he gets much worse at that point. Um, you know, it's just, he is not willing to change his opinion no matter what. Um, so that's not a good quality to have. I think that he preys on the Christian community, which I'm not religious, but I think it's kind of despicable that that's the way that he markets himself is through churches and takes advantage of religious people. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but like he's been in a ton of trouble, like threatening to shoot employees. The whole reason that he got into this in the first place is because he's terrible with money. You know, he got millions of dollars into debt and declared bankruptcy. I mean, people want to say like, oh, he's doing so much better than you. He's like, yeah, but I'm paying my debt, aren't I? Did he? No. He set up a whole career about how you're an asshole and worthless because you're not paying your debt. He didn't pay his own debt. He's a hypocrite. And, you know, on top of that, it's his followers, which, I mean, you guys have seen some of that, and I mentioned it earlier, but it's not just this channel. I saw somebody else's comment, and I'm going to address this when I get to it. Eventually, guys, this is one of those videos I've had planned for years, and when my life settles down, I will make. I am going to make a video titled something like Why I Don't Follow Dave Ramsey. And it's going to go over some of this stuff. I'm not going to go into a lot of like personal stuff. I'm basically going to say what I said here. Like I just think he's in general a complete asshole. But I'm going to talk about like some of the more objective things as to, you know, why I don't follow him. TM USA says, LL, yes, watch out for the diehard Ramsey fans. The Britney Spears fans are just as fanatic. I only really know like one person that would say they're a Britney Spears fan, and it's a dude I used to work with at AT&T back when in college. I mean, there's some people that are like, you know, they're okay and stuff. But that's the only dude that I know of that like was like a big fan and like talked about her all the time. So I don't really know anything about that, but yeah, there is also a video on YouTube, assuming it hasn't been taken down. It's like of a car repair shop. And this dude in his video, like one of his other videos he made a just offhand comment about something like personal finance related. And somehow Dave Ramsey's followers found that video and they were like spamming and downvoting by the hundreds his videos and reporting his channel. And I mean, they're just completely insane. And they're not good people. I mean, you guys, especially if you look back at my videos in like 2018 and the people I was collabing with, you know, these are people who mostly are like church people because that's where, you know, he preys upon to find his victims or customers. But that's like, they're, you know, supposed to be like good people, but that is the opposite of how they behave if you do not agree with him. And so anywhere there was this like car shop repair video, and they just attacked this guy because they found this like obscure reference to something, and he made an entire video about how Dave Ramsey's followers are crazy. So anyway, let's see here. Max, are you still trying to sue for $3 million? Yeah, the lawsuit's still going on. Now, ultimately, I will say this. Ultimately, the amount of money that I asked for in the complaint doesn't matter. The jury gets to decide how much that amount is. I mean, there's some, they kind of look at like what the damages were. But there's two different times. There's compensatory damages, which is actually for money I've lost. And that can be like, oh, okay, well, I had these therapist bills, so she needs to pay those, right? But it's also stuff like damage to reputation. It's like, losing a job over this and the loss of income from that. Those things are part of, those are all calculated in compensatory wages or damages. The other is punitive damages. And punitive damages, there's two types of those too. Punitive meaning like to punish. And it's one, to punish her for what she did to me. And to try to dissuade her from doing it in the future. And then the second type, or I guess the second reason to give punitive damages, is also to set a precedent so that there is like case law showing how disapproving the jury and through them the general public is of such behavior, and how they want to discourage anyone from ever behaving like that again. So there's compensatory and punitive. Will I get $3 million? I have no idea. I mean, I will say it's going to be a large amount, based on the informal discovery I'm doing. I'm confident a jury of people is going to look at it and just seriously be like, what the fuck? And of course, going to say like, no, you cannot act like this. So the question is how much is that going to be? I mean, I'm going to make the argument of it being on the higher end. So who knows? And this is all assuming that there's not a settlement before then. Which actually I'm writing I'm writing another motion after I get done with this video today. I'm going to be writing something. So there's still a lot of stuff going on in the background. Well, We Who Are About to Die Salute You. I have a say in that, so I'll get to that when I get to your comment. Let's see here. So so We Who Are About to Die Salute You. Yeah, you had to take the driver's portion twice. I only did once. I did, I messed up a little bit. I had like a weird 4-way stop interaction where I like didn't go when I was supposed to, but I guess that's not the worst thing. It still passed. We Were About to Die Salute You. Some guy did not stop at a stop sign and I made a quick turn. Safely, my instructor was like, why did you do that? And he said, strange dad. Yeah, I mean, my dad's just, I don't know what's going on with him, but it's not something that I can deal with. And I've given him tons of chances. Polemic says, sorry everyone, or everybody, my dogs saw me put on shorts, clothes, shoes, and now they're going crazy. See, I'm sucked into grocery shopping and preparing for next week. Sucks, gotta say bye. All right, Poe, yeah, just, watch it back when it re-uploads, and then if you had any questions or anything, just ask me next month. We'll do another one at the end of October. SB says, he was mad because you went to class. He didn't approve of getting a college degree. Well, no. I mean, my dad was a college professor, and he was at the time. My parents forced me to go to college. I've said that a lot, where I didn't really get the opportunity to make the choice about whether I was going, to sit and think about whether I wanted to go. It was expected. He wanted me to go. Well, like, at least in theory, he wanted me to go to college. But, like, in actual practice, he couldn't be there with me 24/7, which is what he was trying to do. He was trying to, like, live my life for me, or, like, I don't know. I really don't know. I just could not get away from him. And Um, so yeah, I don't know, but no, he wanted me to go to college. He just did not want me to be away to be going to class or giving attention to anyone but him. Now that I say that, my mom's the same way. Like, if I'm going through something, my mom will create a problem out of nowhere so that I focus on her rather than my own problems. Let's see. Poe says, I'll watch it later. This fucking kills me. Well, that's okay, man. I mean, just, just watch it back. I'm glad you were here for what you could be. Don't get in trouble with your wife. We who are about to die salute you. Happy wife, happy life, Poe. I don't know, man. I've tried that. You guys see where I am. I would not say that's the, yeah. I would not say that the solution is to not disagree or bring up problems. Talking about Dave Ramsey. They found out that he was involved in a timeshare scheme and the fact that he went bankrupt, and then he states he does not use credit and loans, probably because he cannot get one. Yeah, I mean, at this point he probably could. I think that bankruptcy was like 30, 40, 50 years ago, but yeah, he's just lying. Like, that's it. That's just another thing on top of everything else. He wants to make it out like, he's, I don't know, like he's this unquestionable, infallible god of personal finance. And, everyone's an idiot for doing anything differently than the way that he would do it. And it's like, well, your way obviously didn't work. And I mean, I guess it's okay to make mistakes and then learn from them, but he's just not acknowledging it. He's not accepting it. And it really bothers me how he treats people when he did the same thing. Max Maddle, will the trial be available for online to be viewed like the O.J. Simpson trial? No. Okay, so here's the thing. West Virginia does not live stream their trials. Some stuff at the Supreme Court they did, or that they do, not everything, but this will be at the county level. Well, technically the circuit level, so I think it's like 3 counties combined. But like, that'll be, it won't be televised. Now, it is a very, very small courtroom. I will warn you guys about that. Technically, it is open to the public, but I cannot guarantee that if you guys show up there that you would be allowed in. Because there's also a lot of security, and they don't really follow their own rules a lot of times. So I don't want to encourage you guys to go. It's going to be stressful enough for me to be in there and have to do this. But it is open to the public, and if you guys go, I'm talking there's room for like maybe 2 people to sit there, maybe. I mean, it's not like what you see on TV. It's a very small room. I have seen on some of the bigger trials, like murder trials and stuff, they do film in there. I have no reason to think the media is going to be there, but technically they are allowed to be. So, I don't know. We Who Are About to Die Salute You says, Graham Stephan is running out of material and is making reaction videos to Dave Ramsey. Yeah, I mean, I'm still subscribed to Graham, but I haven't watched any of his videos for probably a year or two, because just looking at the topics of them when they come up in my subscription feed, they're not anything I'm interested in. And he has mentioned Dave Ramsey for years. Like, he is a Dave Ramsey follower. I do know that. So that's probably why he's doing that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he doesn't really have anything going on. And then you said you would just have to hope that the jury is not majority female. So that's where I said that I do send that. I see what you're saying. Let me just say this. So you guys know that one of the things that I'm suing for is called intentional infliction of emotional distress, right? that used to be called something called the tort of outrage. Um, and what that means is that the individual members of the jury should hear the behavior and think, that's outrageous. Let me tell you guys, I've got that on lock. I've been doing informal discovery for about the last month and a half, and I can't say any of it here. But oh my God, the stuff that I have found out is so much worse than what I knew about. And yeah, so I don't have any doubt that that's going to be proved. But here's the thing. Because it's so bad, I do think that a lot of the women that normally would, never vote against a woman might. But also, the other reason I have a say in this is because there's something called voir dire. Voir dire is, well, I think in our case it's like a day or two before the trial, but usually it's the day of the trial, before the trial begins. And it's just the fancy name for jury selection. And there's a process, like, I don't know how big the jury is. It's either like 6, 8, or 12 people. But like, let's say it's 12. They'll probably bring in like 20 people. And then I, as the plaintiff, get to put on a little presentation where I talk to the jury directly. I get to joke with them, ask them questions, and I get to know them a little bit. And then she or her attorney will get to do that as well. And then after that, each of us gets like 2 or 3 jurors that we can dismiss for no reason at all. Just, we don't even have to give a reason as to why. And then the others, then there's like 1 or 2 I think you get where you can ask the judge and be like, hey, I think this particular person like might have this conflict. I'm not really comfortable with them. And the judge can either approve it or deny it. But like basically the questions that I'm going to ask leading into it are going to give me an idea of who I would want to dismiss. So I can pick off a few of the people that I know would absolutely be against me no matter what. And not that this really means anything, but the jury does have to swear that they're not coming in with an informed opinion or like an opinion already formed. And generally both sides remind them to say like, hey, listen to both sides, don't make a decision until the end of this. So yeah, now when the jury is seated, there'll just be however many jury members plus usually 1 alternate. Okay, where are we at here in the comments? Oh, we were about to, I salute you. He has a video on how to live like the 1%, a little different from Dave Ramsey's baby steps. Yeah, Graham Stephan, okay. I mean, see, I wouldn't even want to watch that video because not only am I not the 1%, but even if I was, I don't want to live like that. I do my own thing. SB says, is it typical for a client to be doing the discovery and writing motions himself? It depends on how you look at it. I'm not the client, that's the thing. I don't have an attorney. So when you don't have an attorney, yes, it is typical because you're the only one that can do it. The way that I look at this is, the popular opinion and the opinion that every lawyer will give you is that you need a lawyer. That's bullshit. Because the way the justice system is set up is it's not meant for attorneys to exist. That's a profession that has evolved over time to provide this service. The justice system is meant so that individuals represent themselves. So it's like, it's nice to have an attorney, but if you're a halfway intelligent person, you can just sit down and read and figure out how to do it. You gotta say, because the other thing is, I know a lot of attorneys, like from different aspects of my life. Law school does not teach you how to be an attorney. It teaches you a certain way of thinking, but then when you get out there, you have no idea how to practice. So you, as a pro se litigant or a pro per or in pro per, you don't know any less than the attorneys do. And I'm constantly running into that. I'll give you guys an example. I had to issue subpoenas this past week. I'm actually going to issue some more subpoenas this coming week. Now, I do not have the authority to issue a subpoena. In the West Virginia Rules of Civil Procedure, it says that either the attorney issues the subpoena or the clerk of the court has to sign the subpoena. I got into a big argument with the clerk's office because they're like, all the pro se litigants just issue their own subpoenas. And I was like, I literally don't have that power. And they're like, well, they do it anyway. I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to do it the right way. And it is a constant battle I am having with people in this, and they don't do it the way they're supposed to do, and then they get upset when I don't do it the wrong way. And I'm like, look, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna sign my own subpoena, I'm gonna send it over, and the other side's gonna be like, you're not an attorney, you can't do this. And then I will have wasted several weeks in the process. So I'm just doing it right the first time. I feel like I'm talking really fast today. I'm sorry if I'm losing you guys. I don't know if I'm just hyped up or what. We who are about to die salute you. I used to be on the grand jury. I think there was like 9 people. Well, the thing about that, so grand juries and a jury for a case are different. So a grand jury is like the prosecutor or the police officer will actually, they'll actually present the case to the jury, to the grand jury, to see if the grand jury says there's enough evidence or whatever it's called to indict the person. And so then the grand jury issues indictments actually charging the person with a crime. Whereas the jury just hears the evidence of one particular crime. Well, not a crime, well, crime, okay. Crime versus tort, whatever, civil case. But what happens is they hear both sides and they see all the evidence. Whereas like with a grand jury, you only hear one side. So there is a difference there, and it's possible that the sizes of the juries are different. I'm not sure. SB says, oh, I'm just curious, it sounds like lawyer stuff. Yeah, it is usually lawyer stuff. Most people do not do this. Okay, so I'll tell you guys why I don't have a lawyer. The quick version of why I don't have a lawyer is when I was trying to get a lawyer to help me appeal the restraining order in the first place, I was having a really hard time getting anybody to represent me. Like, just nobody wanted to be attached to that kind of case because it would make them look bad. That was the answer that I got. That even if I was in the right, like, it just would make them look bad, like, with other lawyers and in the court system. So then when I did all of that stuff all the way up to the Supreme Court, I think it was August 22nd of 2022, that was like the deadline where everything was finalized. But in researching all that, I realized that they were probably just going to find the cases moot and like not do anything with it, which is exactly what they did. So I was like, well, if they're literally just not even going to do anything with this at all, and I never get any chance to ever be heard or ever present any evidence to prove that I'm innocent, then what else can I do? And between my therapist and the battered women's shelter that's given me a legal advocate, both of them were like, you have to sue. This is what we tell everyone to do. Nobody ever does it. And so that's what I did, but there was an extremely tight turnaround. The statute of limitations for me to be able to sue was November 4th. I didn't even think about this until late August. There was not time to find a lawyer. There wasn't even time to consider if I could afford one. This had to be done on my own. There was no choice. So that's how I ended up doing this without an attorney, because there was such a tight turnaround to get it in on time that I didn't even have the opportunity to look for one. The Realist Realtor says, how much money have you spent on this case thus far? I don't know the answer to that. I do have a spreadsheet that I keep of all of the mileage and all of the expenses, and of course I have all of the physical receipts for everything that I've spent. I have no idea. I mean, all I'd really need to do is go on that Excel file and, do a sum function to get it to say what it is now. I do know in the next couple months my expenses are going to go up quite a bit because I'm holding all these depositions, and those are pretty expensive. But the thing is, this is worth it to me, even if I settle, even if I completely lose, it's worth it to me, because for me, I think the term is injustice trauma, of what happened at the hearing last year. And that was sort of the thing where, when my therapist was encouraging me to do this, she's like, are you going to be okay never being able to tell your story? And I came back the next session having thought about it, and I'm like, no. So that was when we started planning to do this. So I don't know. I would say, like, a guess here, I'd probably spent like $2,000. Maybe not. I mean, definitely more than that if you're including mileage. But you got to understand, I'm using free rooms for the depositions. I'm using the cheapest court reporters I can find. I'm doing all the legwork myself for discovery. I'm writing everything myself. I'm representing myself at hearings. I'm doing everything the cheapest way possible. And so there are still costs. But when you think about litigation and you think about, tens of thousands of dollars in bills, that's not the case with me, because by learning everything and doing everything on my own, I'm making it so that it's not cheap, but like cheapish. And when you look at what the stakes are and how much I'm getting back, I mean, it'll definitely be worth it. And I mean, part of any settlement that I would possibly make would also just be like, okay, here's everything I've spent on this case, here's everything I spent on the restraining order case. That's going to be one of the requirements. You have to pay that back. Like, that I should not have had to deal with any of this. You need to pay that. Okay, so legal strategy. Yeah, and guys, I don't mind telling you about the case, especially because I'm not telling you any specifics, and I'm not even really telling you, like, strategy. I'm literally just kind of saying, like, this is how it works. And, yeah, at least you guys know at least you guys know that I know what I'm talking about, since, I've had to figure all this stuff out on my own. Okay. We Who Are About to Die salute you. He had an attorney that he paid to give him some input, I think. Yes, I had an attorney to represent me in the appeal of the restraining order. Short version, I got a consultation with a lawyer before the hearing for the restraining order who told me that my case was so good that there was no way I would lose, and he didn't even need to represent me. That's obviously not what happened. So after I lost and I went to appeal, I tried to get a lawyer, and I got an organization that was going to represent me pro bono because I got screwed over so much, and that's kind of what they advocate for, is people who have been screwed over by the court. But then when the second level of the court refused to even hold a hearing that they were required to hear, or to have, the organization pulled the pro bono lawyer saying, well, if they're not even going to hold a hearing, there's no way we can win this, and we need to put our money where we can make a difference. So I lost that because I got screwed over. And then as I was appealing to the Supreme Court, I did hire a lawyer, paid the retainer, all that stuff. And he helped me with getting the paperwork filed for that. And that was pretty much it. I don't remember what I paid him, but it was not a huge retainer, and so like that went pretty quickly. And then like I haven't had an attorney for the entire lawsuit. That was just the restraining order which led to the lawsuit. Money making? I don't know what that means. I had you on 1.25 until I caught up. Yes. Yeah, prosecutor and police officer. Yeah, so I'm pretty familiar. I've actually watched, in preparation for this, I've watched videos of depositions, videos of trials, videos of grand juries, voir dire. Like, I've got myself prepared to be in there and halfway know what I'm doing. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Okay, so, okay, you're talking about your grand jury experience. I questioned the officer, though. I was like, do you have any visual evidence? They looked at me like, I will not be forced into making a decision. I need all the evidence. Yeah, so that's kind of a new thing, and I don't think police officers are used to that. So it seems like now, because like video and audio recording is so common, that in order to, so in the past, let's just say this is 10 years ago and forever before that, a jury would hear one person's side and they would hear the other person's side, and they would see what documentary evidence existed, and they would say, okay, based on all of this, we believe this person, their version of the story. But now, because we are so used to having video and audio evidence, when that doesn't exist for whatever reason, we're kind of just like, I don't know. I can't make a decision either way. And that's what you're saying. And of course, if you can't make the decision in the court, you have to go with like not guilty. But that's kind of a new thing. That's just something that's changed recently. So, Elf says, have you tried the honey hot cheese puffs? I haven't heard of those. What brand are those? Or is Honey Hot the brand? I don't eat a whole lot of snacks, but I'm not opposed to trying them. We Were About to Die Salute You says, try Sweet Carolina Reaper Cheetos, so good. Found them at Kroger. Okay, I might look for those. I've never actually had Carolina Reaper, but I like most peppers. I don't know if you guys have them around here, or around y'all, but there is Cheetos Bolitas, which are, they're the Cheetos balls that they don't make anymore. These used to be just in Mexico, and I don't know if it's because I live in a city where like I can just easily get foods from other cultures, or if they have started bringing them to America. But they're called Cheetos Bolitas, which means little balls, and they are like the old Cheetos cheese balls, but they're chile y queso, so chili and cheese flavor. And I really like them. I like the texture. I like, they have some flavor to them. The cheese doesn't taste artificial, and it does have a little bit of spice. So I really like those. Walgreens has them, at least the ones here. I don't know anywhere else, but I read up on it online. It said that they are generally only available in Mexico. All right, and then you said it is spicy. They have 3 different ones. Cheetos Flamin' Hot. Okay, I've seen the other 2. Flamin' Hot and Extra Flamin' Hot. You've tried the Bolitas, okay. Now, I saw in Mexico there's a second flavor of bolitas, and I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but I didn't see that here. Okay, I'm at the end of the comments. If you guys want to continue commenting, I will talk with you when I get back. I'm going to go, I forgot to grab a drink. I'm going to go grab a drink out of the refrigerator, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So drinks for today, I've got Diet Pepsi in here. This is only about maybe half full. And then the new design Diet Pepsi. I'm actually kind of out of drinks that I have in the fridge, so I'm gonna go grocery shopping later. Okay, SB says, you said you majored in psychology. I watched an older video of yours when you talked about WVU wouldn't let you into petroleum engineering. You said you were going to backup school. Did you finish that? No. I went to, okay, in the US and especially in the East Coast, there's only 2 schools that have petroleum engineering. There was Marietta College, which is where I graduated with my undergrad, and a lot of my fraternity brothers were petro majors. And there's WVU. And I just happened to go from Marietta College to WVU. And yeah, after I moved up there, I planned to stay. I was working full-time at Hollister, and I was broke and my student loans were coming due, so all my brothers are like, hey man, just get a degree in petro. You'll be fine, you'll be set. So I tried that. That did not go well. I did not finish the degree. What happened was I got back in, I reapplied to the school, they let me immediately into the petro program, no questions asked. All I had to do was just the petro program. I didn't have to do any gen eds. The problem was I still had to do math classes, and I had not had a math class for 13 years since high school. And remember, I was in college forever. So it'd been 13 years since I had a math class. Well, my college, Marietta, is academically pretty intense, and they don't do easy classes. So I get in, I'm working full-time, mind you, and also, God, you guys might see a pattern here, but I also had a huge breakup with the same girl, in 2013. So between the time that I got back in and was starting classes in the fall, I was emotionally devastated before the beginning of the semester, which certainly did not help things. And I was working full time, and I got into the lowest math class possible. It was not even a 100 level. It was Math 090, but that's intermediate algebra at Marietta. I'm like, I had algebra in high school, but I was a freshman. This was 2013. I had algebra in 1999. And not only was there a ton of homework, I was having a huge issue with the damn online math I've never done math online. There was some kind of computer program where I literally sometimes would get the right answer and it would tell me it was wrong, and it would show my answer and then the actual answer, and they're the same thing, and I was having a hell of a time. I couldn't get it to work. They do have free tutoring, but I couldn't go to the tutoring because I was always working during that time. And with me working, I didn't have enough time to study enough to figure out. I didn't have time to do any tutoring, any remedial work, and they didn't offer classes low enough for me to understand the math. So between all of that, and then a second breakup that same semester with the same girl that again messed me up financially, or actually not financially at the time, emotionally. I took a medical leave, and it was medical leave because of all the mental stuff, and I never went back. By 5 years out, it was a 5-year leave. They held my place in the program, and by 5 years, I was dealing with my mom's medical stuff by that time. And there was no way I was going back. So, yeah. So I just never went back. Let's see here. SB, if you could go back in time, what major would you do instead of psych? I don't really know if I could do anything else. I mean, as far as like, doing what I'm doing now and starting my own business and stuff, those classes didn't exist when I was in school. Now my college has a whole like entrepreneurship program and stuff, but that didn't exist. And I'm interested in neuroscience, and that was an emerging field near the time I graduated. But if I'd majored in that, I also would have had to go to grad school. So that wouldn't have gained me anything. I'd be in the same position I am now. I don't really think I'd change my major, because I struggled so much through college because of being completely on my own and poverty and not being able to like get a job to support myself and just barely making it, that I couldn't do a major that was more academically intense, because my major was, but I know there were majors that were harder. I just wouldn't have had the time or resources to do it. So yeah, I wouldn't have changed my major, I guess is my answer to that. We who are about to die salute you. When did you go to Mexico? I didn't go to Mexico. I know I mentioned Mexico because I was talking about the bolitas, but I speak Spanish mostly, but I don't, I haven't actually gone to Mexico. I guess the closest is the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, but that's still pretty far. And it's not Diet Coke. There is, okay, Diet Pepsi. I do also have a 20 ounce of Diet Coke in the refrigerator. There's a couple of deleted messages. How's work going? How's saving for an apartment going? Car running okay yet? Any news stories to share about car life? Work's going fine. I'm doing TaskRabbit still. I've got some, I'm still working on building the business more, and I'm getting more off-platform work. I can charge a lot more. I charge $45 an hour off-platform. So I'm doing that as much as I can and coming up with more ways to advertise that. Saving for an apartment is sort of in the negative. I had to take $100 out a week or two ago just to get by until all of my invoices got paid out. So I think there's only like $260 in there. So that's less than it was last month because I took that 100 out. And I'm not in a place where I can put anything away right now. But I mean, I had already decided that I'm going south for the winter rather than getting an apartment for the winter. Car is running the same. It has the same issue that I mentioned last time, but it's also been doing that for like months. So it's not like anything's going to happen with it. I am also leaking coolant, which is really weird because it was leaking coolant about a year ago. And then it just stopped for no apparent reason and didn't leak any for months and months. And then last month, I opened the hood and it was just like shooting out everywhere. And I mean, it wasn't like empty. Like I have a bottle of coolant in the back seat, and I top it up occasionally. I check on it here and there. But it was low, and it had obviously been spitting it out from somewhere, and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. So I So anyway, I found a soft spot in my upper radiator hose, and while I can't find a hole anywhere, I can see where it's coming out because there's like a line on this plastic connector to the radiator. So eventually I'm going to have to replace that hose. I've got a guy lined up to do it. I need to just have him do it. But essentially it's fine. I just have to check it every few days and top it up if need be. But apparently I have like a pinhole in the upper radiator hose. So I just have to keep tabs on that. Same with the oil. The oil no longer leaks, by the way. I got that fixed. So that at least is fixed. And then the only news story about car life is I finally got the knock, which is Home Depot called the police on me. Which, by the way, there isn't even a Home Depot there. It's a vacant lot, but apparently Home Depot owns it. But they called the police because they saw me sleeping there, and I mean, they didn't do anything. They just the only thing they actually did is they called this homeless shelter, and they couldn't get through to them. They left a voicemail, so they gave me the number to call, and I called later in the day, and I was like, hey, I don't really know what I want. The police just told me to call this number, and they're like, well. Oh yeah, Elf. Yeah, I can smell the coolant. It's not all the time. It's just here and there for seemingly no reason. But yeah, because it reminds me every time to check it. Like, because I'll smell that smell, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I should check that tonight. But yeah, basically the guy is in Parkersburg, the guy that does work for me super cheap. And so maybe this week, because I'm going down there about once a week, I might see if it's something he can look at. Because, I mean, he's super cheap, and it's honestly really easy to get to that hose. He gets a discount on parts. He'll probably charge me, maybe $20 for the hose, maybe $25 for labor. Because it's just taking 2 clamps off and then putting that back on, and that should fix the problem. Like I said, there's a soft spot in the hose, and there's not supposed to be, so I'm assuming that's where it's coming from. But as long as I keep it filled, it's not hurting anything. Let's see. Sorry, I got lost in the comments. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's my only story about car life. Anyway, I called the homeless shelter, and they're like, so do you want, like, are you wanting to get on the list to come here? I was like, no, I don't want to stay in the homeless shelter. And they're like, well, what, are you just living in your car? I was like, yeah. And, like, they couldn't understand the concept that I just want to live in my car. Like, I think they understood why I didn't want to be in a homeless shelter, but they're like, well, what are you going to do? I'm just going to live in my car. And they're like, and you're just okay with that? I'm like, yes. It's much better than being in a homeless shelter. Like, I have my own space. I don't have to deal with people. I've got an office, I've got a gym. I can go anywhere that I need to make money or to take care of anything else I need. Why would I not want that? Anyway, I'm having a really hard time making people understand my situation. Um, so that didn't go anywhere. Essentially, I got the knock, I stopped sleeping there, and nothing was done about it. Oh yeah, Diet Pepsi. Um, we were about to die salute you says engineering is really tough. I had taken a biology major and it overlapped some engineering. Physics, then pre-med, organic chem, gen chem, and biology. Yeah, I've heard organic chem is really hard. The girl I dated in college, my freshman year at Marietta, she was she took organic chemistry, and I think she was the tutor for it for the school. Um, she liked it, but it was really hard for everybody. Um, it would be especially hard for me because you guys have to understand my high school did not have math or science courses. Um, we did, well, I took chemistry my junior year, but I learned basically nothing. Um, Biology, I learned from an actual Catholic priest that came every day in his his thing he wears with the little white collar thing. So I learned nothing there. Um, my high school was exceptionally bad, and what's actually worse is that my high school was considered one of the best. But like looking back now, I realize I didn't learn anything I was supposed to. So going to college and then having to take these hard classes, I would be completely lost. Um, Elf, no. Did you expect me to? I mean, no. I absolutely have no desire for kids. I can't stand them. I hate even being near them or at a restaurant or in public near them. Um, I, yeah. They just really upset me. Um, so, no, that is absolutely not something I want to do. Max says college math can be brutal. I'm worried my tech certifications, CompTIA Plus, will not lead to a job. I might in spring 2024 re-enroll in community college to take Calc 2. Okay. Make sure I mean, I've had mixed experiences with community college. Um, so if you, if you go to community college for that course, just make sure that the professor's qualified and that you actually learn stuff. Because, like I said, my experiences in community college is that you have a few professors that are very good, like extremely good at the subject and are good teachers. And you have others who are just awful teachers. And there's a few in there too where, like my dad, for example, he even taught math at one point. My dad has a degree in history. Like, because you have a degree in anything, they will have you go teach a class. And so I guarantee you there are college professors out there teaching Calc 2 who have a degree in history that don't know anything about it. So just look out for that. We were about to die salute you. How are you surviving on food if you have such a low bank balance? Well, that's just my savings account. But I mean, I think my checking account has less than 200 in it. Of course, I just made a credit card payment, so that's why that's low. But it's not like I don't get paid every other week like with a steady paycheck. I get paid here and there as I do jobs and as invoices get paid. So I get some money every day or two, roughly. I mean, I have to be cheap about stuff, but I don't know. It just seems normal for me, I guess. Yeah, and then Elf said the thing about the coolant. We were about to salute you. My car would do this thing where it would flood the area in front of the passenger seat. No idea what that was. Then it stopped. No idea what that was. I tried touching it and smelling it to see. I think I remember either my mom or my dad had that happen for a car. I don't know what that would be either. Why did you? Oh, then you're asking about the cops. Why did you have to call? Was the cop standing there to make sure you called? No, so when he was like checking my license and stuff, he called and then he came back and said that he had called them as like a referral, but then they didn't answer. So he wrote the number down on his notepad, and I called them later in the day. And when I answered, or God, I can't talk today. When I called, they answered, and I told them why I was calling, but then they were really confused because they're like, "Well, wait, you're not trying to get into housing?" I was like, "No, I was like, I can't afford housing, and I don't want to put that burden on myself of paying rent and utilities." And it was just like they couldn't understand the concept. Like all the cops, like these agencies, they're all of this mindset of like, oh, well, you live in your car, like we need to do something about that. I'm like, no, we don't, because there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing, and I'm not going to place myself in a worse position just because society thinks I need to rent an apartment. I'm not doing that. I mean, when I am very well financially in a better place, then I'll get a place, but that's when I can afford it. And until then, I'm not doing it. Organic chem is good for people who have good spatial memory. I don't have good anything memory anymore. TMUSA, tell us about the girlfriend from freshman year. Oh, so I have to be a little bit careful about giving a lot of information about her because most of the details I could give about her, you could easily put it together and figure out who I'm talking about. I mean, not that she'd care, she'd just think it was weird, and she would message me and be like, "What are you doing?" So freshman year of college at Marietta, so this is my 5th year of college. I think there was like 2 years of community college, 2 years at OU, and then I went to Marietta. So year 5, which is what I consider my freshman year, there was this girl that I'd been introduced to a year before through a mutual friend. We had talked on AIM. This tells you how long ago this was. And so I sort of knew her. Then I ran into her on campus when I transferred there. And I don't know, she just liked me. I don't even know how exactly we started talking. I think she talked to me or something. I was just kind of like so about it. I was like, she's okay. Like, it's nice to have somebody to hang out with. One of my friends from high school who was still around at that time, he was like, you should give her a chance, like, date her. But it was like this weird scenario because she was a super senior and she was graduating that year, and I obviously was staying because I just got there. So not only was I like not all that into her, but like we knew it wasn't going to get serious because she was leaving at the end of the school year. We stayed in contact. I think she called me every year on my birthday up until she got married a few years ago, which is understandable why she doesn't do that now. But like, we're okay. She actually accidentally texted me earlier this year. She put me in like a group chat with a bunch of people from her work, and she texted me later to apologize. But like, we don't have any problems with each other. Which, by the way, I want to mention, that's the way most of my relationships end. I know you guys have been hearing for years about this whole dramatic situation. This is the only one I have like this. So, Fresh lights. How long do you think you will need to get current on your invoices and start saving again? Well, let me get past November because I got to spend a lot of money in the next couple months on subpoenas, process servers, and court reporters for doing the depositions. Then maybe there will also be some big expenses leading up to the trial, which is in February. So let's just say, to be safe, let's get past February. I'm not sure. So I just know I won't have the money I've got coming in. I can pay for this stuff, but I won't have the extra money to put any of that away to save in the meantime. I'm also trying to get caught up on other bills. So like when I do have like $25 extra or something, I'm putting it toward paying off a past due debt rather than putting it into savings. TMUSA, any movement on the ex-roommate situation? Yeah, I mentioned this in last month's live stream, but like his trial was, it was in August. I can't remember the date now. I think it was early-ish August. So I don't really know. I don't really know what to say about it. So we had the trial, and I mentioned this last month. He was found not guilty. And it was kind of like somebody mentioned earlier, the prosecutor talked to the jury afterward, and they said it was for that reason, that there was no video evidence. And so they didn't know who to believe. And in a court case, if you can't tell either way, then you have to find them innocent, which is what happened. And then after that, I don't really know, because there's like a few things up in the air. I've never gotten my deposit back, which, I mean, he told me outright he wasn't going to do, so I wasn't expecting it. I'm not going to go after him for the money he owes me, and he can't come after me for money that I owe him, even because, well, one, I don't owe him money. He claims I do, but you guys know that whole situation. So it's the only other real thing that can happen with that is just the only other thing that I can possibly do is just make a video about it to finally tell you guys what happened. But you guys know how I am with everything going on in my life right now. That might be next year. Well, in fact, it will be next year before that could ever possibly happen. So there's not really much more to do for that to be wrapped up. The thing that I said this in last month's live stream too, the thing that upsets me is he acts like this is something that I did to him. Like that I went after him and like made him go to court. And that's not how any of this works, but he just doesn't understand how it works. And so he blames me, and it's like, I didn't do this to you, dude. I didn't press charges against you. The police officer found probable cause, and he arrested you. He presented to the grand jury indicted you, and then the cop testified against you at the hearing. Like, I came in as a witness, and I did it willingly, but if I'd not, they would have just subpoenaed me to be there. Like, I didn't really have a choice in this. It was all, well, it's technically called the state, but it was, the police officer presses charges against you. That's how it works. But he doesn't understand that. So he blames me. And that part does bother me, but I mean, I don't have any desire to talk to him, so I'm not going to try to explain that to him. So that's basically where that is. it seems to me to have been an enormous waste of my time because yeah, I've got better stuff to deal with, and I made a bunch of trips down there to testify and meet with the prosecutor and stuff. But I will say, the prosecutor had told me, because I told him in the beginning, at the very beginning when he first contacted me, I said, how are we going to prove this? Because it was just the two of us alone in the house. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. He admitted to it. We have it on camera, him admitting to it. But we didn't have that. See, that was the whole reason I went through and I testified and everything. Was because I was told, oh yeah, this is a slam dunk case. There's no way we're going to lose this because we have him on video admitting to doing it. And then we actually watched the video in the trial, and he doesn't say that at all. It's him denying doing it. So, I mean, I did like the prosecutor, but like, I don't like that. Like, I feel like he kind of used me to try to get a win. So, and then I guess I'm just upset about it because it distracted me from other things that I need to be doing. All right. Max says, when I did Calc 1, the professor I had 3 different professors. They taught 3 different versions of Calc 1. Made it much more difficult. Also, they did very little to stop cheating. Is that like a big lecture hall class? Because my college had very small classes, but that sounds like, I know like when I went to OU and people would take the big gen ed math classes, it was kind of like that, where they just let the professor teach like whatever they wanted to teach. And so if you went to one professor's class, you knew like, yeah, that part of that subject. And then if you went to another professor's class, it would be like a completely different part of that subject. Elf says, I think the police were just trying to be helpful. And yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I don't think that they had malintent. It's just people have a narrow mindset where they if you don't do things the normal way that people do them, then I don't know how to phrase that, but they think you're doing something wrong rather than thinking about it and realizing there are different ways to do things. SB says, do you check your oil often? If it ever looks cloudy or milky, then you have a blown head gasket and the coolant is mixing with the oil. I do check my oil fairly often, at least once a week, sometimes a couple times a week. The reason being, it used to leak. It seems like it has not been leaking for the last couple months. Like, there's like no puddles under it where there used to be. That is a long story. Come to find out, the last place that changed my oil like messed it up. And then when I got a new oil change, like that stopped it. So I don't know what cloudy or milky oil would look like, but when I see it on the dipstick, it just looks brown, which I know is like not ideal because that means it's a little bit dirty. But like, I think most car engines oil is brown after it's been put through the system. So I don't think it's cloudy or milky, but I can't say that for sure. It is quite possible that I have a blown head gasket because my car that I had before this had a blown head gasket, which never did anything. Like, yes, the oil and the coolant mixed, but I drove it for like 100,000 miles that way, and it was completely fine. I know with cars, it used to be like when that happened, like they're pretty much screwed. Now they just run forever like that. So it's quite possible that it is. It doesn't cause me any problems if that's the case. But again, I don't see any. Well, so, and that's the other thing too. The coolant, the reason that I'm low on coolant, it doesn't appear to be like getting into the oil. It appears to just be leaking onto the ground. Like it's It, so, so I don't think that's it. Um, I need a. Actually, I'm getting my haircut in 2 weeks. I gotta ask my haircut dude again because he's the one that told me what I need. It's some sort of sensor, but also the completely random. But the reason that I'm checking my oil so often is because like 2 years ago the sensor went bad for the oil, and so like 90% of the time now it tells me that it's low on oil because the light's on, but it's not. Like I can check it and it's completely fine. It goes off randomly, comes back on randomly. It has no correlation with how much oil's in there. And so that's why I just have to manually check it. Let's see. SB, are you going to get the latest COVID booster? No. I did get double vaxxed, like when it first came out. I have not had any of the boosters. I don't take flu shots, and basically, if I can avoid needles at all, I will avoid them. Now, when I get old, you know, I might have to do flu shots and stuff like that. Probably have to do COVID stuff at that point. But no, I've not had any COVID boosters. I don't plan on it. And I also, I mean, I don't have insurance, and now you have to pay for it. And so definitely not doing that. Fresh Lights, do you still have people that were working with you on furniture assembly? Well, as of now, no. As of mid-August, no. I did have somebody working with me who was overseeing another region, and I don't really know what to say happened with that. That person just sort of disappeared. Um, that sucks, but yeah. Um, I mean, when I have time, when I find somebody that lives in a different area that wants to do this kind of thing, um, I'll open a market there and start doing the advertising and stuff to bring them in jobs in that area, just like I do for myself here. But no, they kind of disappeared on me, and but I'm also going to be moving in probably November. So, I mean, just for the winter, I'm going south. And so in doing that, I'm opening up a new market in North Carolina, anyhow, with myself. And then we'll be maintaining the Columbus market. So, if I have any like repeat customers coming back contacting me, I'm going to line up somebody to do it while I'm out of town. And Elf says, how are interracial relationships / marriages viewed in West Virginia? I mean, they seem like they're pretty common, but I would say, however they're viewed, like on average in the country, they're probably viewed a little more negatively, just because people are racist, like way more racist in West Virginia than the average in the country. But I do know like a lot of people who, like, from my town that are either mixed race themselves, or they, are dating people of other races. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I actually know anybody that is like actually know them. I can't think of any of that myself. I mean, I see people, like walking around the mall, and you can tell people are a couple. But SB, you have a lot of experiences to draw on for your writing. Do you mean like my writing for my thing I have to write today for a court? The motion I'm writing? Look at above comment. Comment above. You have a lot of experiences to draw on for your writing. Do you mean the interracial relationships? because I don't think that I have fully, above that one, self-publish. SB, are you saying the comment above that from you? Because the comment I see is about my oil and the head gasket. Did I miss one somewhere? Okay, I'm kind of lost. I don't know the comment that you're talking about. You said that it's something about self-publishing, but I don't see anything about that. Okay, I'm gonna answer fresh light. Oh, wait, right below the interracial. So, okay, so SB, what I'm seeing in my chat feed is I see the Elf's comment about interracial marriages, and then the comment right below that is yours saying you have a lot of experiences to draw on for your writing. And that's what I was asking about, is like writing of what? Are you seeing a comment that I'm not seeing? That would be weird, because it would be like somebody that has me blocked so I can't see their stuff, but they're commenting on. Oh, and Elf is saying we can't see a self-published comment. I can be honest with you guys, I don't comment on live streams myself, so I don't know what a self-published comment is. Okay. All right. So I don't want to skip over fresh lights here. So let me get to their question. Do you get proper sleep in the car? What's your routine like when you are done with work for the day? Okay. So I get okay sleep in the car. I'll say it's probably not as good as, sleeping in a bed at home, but there for about a month. Long story, but there for about a month. I had stuff in the back seat, so I was just leaning back the driver's seat, like sleeping like that. I wasn't getting the greatest sleep doing that, but now I'm back to having like my full bed spread out in the hatch of the car with the back seats folded down. That's a lot better. I am way more comfortable sleeping on either my stomach or my side, and that lets me do that. I also kind of have this setup where I'm just gonna have to make a video and show you guys, because it's way too complicated to explain, but it's a way of blocking out the sun, so that's better too. So I don't wake up and the sun's shining in my eyes. I get like okay sleep. I mean, I'm getting by. Most days I don't feel like super tired. It's not optimal, but it's like okay. And my routine for when I'm done for the day is I don't really ever have time off. It's just after work, I'll go and grab food or something, and then I will go work on something else. Usually the lawsuit or some other thing that I need to catch up on. And that's generally almost every night, I end up at the co-working space. Now, sometimes, like, this is my home location, but I have access to a bunch of other locations too. And I end up at whatever one is sort of around, like closest to me. And then what I'll do, and then I basically, for the most part, I stay in the co-working space, either getting work done or watching something on my computer. I'll eat dinner there and stuff too. And I'll stay there up until the point that I go to bed. And so then I'll just drive somewhere to go sleep, because I don't sleep here. There's like very limited parking, so that would be weird. Okay, so let me see. Fresh Light says maybe they mean you can write about your story or your experiences and self-publish. Yes. SB says yes, it would have been. It should what? It should be. Have you ever considered being a writer? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I didn't see that comment. So, have you ever considered being a writer? You can self-publish on Amazon. Yes, Fresh Lights. That's what I'm saying. My original comment shows above. Weird, he can't see it. Yeah, because I definitely can't see one about that. And it doesn't have to be on his story per se, but he could write a lot of good fiction with his life experiences. Freshly, it says, Mark saw your comment. I guess he thought your first comment was referring to some previous comment, so he was searching for that. No, he only saw the previous experience comment. Okay, yeah, I'm kind of lost, but now that you said what the missing comment said, I don't know if I've ever considered being a writer. I don't think I would like that. I do know about Amazon self-publishing, mostly because I just saw the link the other day when because I've got a tab up on Freevee, which is it's like Amazon Prime, but it's free. So it's like FREEVEE, I think. And it's like some of the movies that are on Amazon Prime that you can watch for free. And down at the bottom, it has the links for like everything Amazon has. And I know self-published was on there. So I did see that. That would be impossible for me to do right now. Not only from a time perspective, but also from a money perspective. I can't take that time away from what I'm doing, and I can't take the risk on, whether a book gets published or something like that. The only thing that I could do, and I wouldn't do it, because you guys know I don't put the details in here on the channel. I could tell my story, about the relationship. I could do that, but I'm not going to do that. First of all, it's embarrassing, and second, no matter how bad she treats me, I won't do her like that. I think that's probably the most interesting thing I could have to say is just telling the story of that. But again, I don't want people to know that about me, and I don't want to say anything bad about her. So yeah, SB and Fresh Lights are still talking back and forth about the comment. I don't know why I can't see it. That's possible, SB. There is actually a way that I can set up a filter so that certain words are filtered out, but I don't have that. I don't have anything filtered out. You guys can say whatever you want in the comments. It's just like an option for like certain words, but I actually don't have that. So Amazon's definitely not in that. I don't know what happened. But yeah, and then the other thing is, I've got this real problem with reading. If I would fall asleep. I fall asleep when I read. I got a book from the library. You guys, I got a book from the library. I have not gotten a book since 2010. That tells you how much college ruined reading for me. And I only got this book because it relates to my lawsuit, and I want to eventually read it, but realistically, I don't have time. But I also don't want to sit down and try to read it because I know I will fall asleep. I don't know why reading does that, but I get so tired when I read. And then I can't get through stuff because I, I just sleep. And then I wake up hours later. Anyway, Elf, would you ever date someone for a place to stay? It's called a hobosexual. So I've heard that term. I didn't know it meant specifically that. I wouldn't do that, but I'm trying to figure out in my head where I would draw the line. So I would not date someone for a place to stay if I was dating or talking to someone and they had a place. I would not be opposed to, just telling them my situation and then saying like, well, do you care like while we hang out here if I do laundry? Or maybe even take an occasional shower because it's just easier than going to the gym and doing it. I think I'd be okay with that. I mean, we'll have to find out if they're okay with it, but that I'd be okay with. I don't want to. Well, I'm definitely not going to rush into living with anybody that I'm dating. I've never done that. But I'm also not going to be reliant on somebody for my having a place to go and a place to stay and like access to my stuff. I don't want to put myself in a situation where I have to stay with a person. Definitely not if they're going to like abuse that. But even if they don't, I don't want to put myself in a situation where me having a place to be is dependent on like how they feel about me. I am going to look up that term later tonight though. I am going to look into that more just because I like and I would even be okay if they just let me park in their driveway and sleep there, so I don't get the knock at night. No, Fresh Lights, I don't get anything. I make way too much money. I mean, like I said, I charge $45 an hour. I mean, the reason that I make so much money but I'm so poor is because, well, number one, I got a lot of stuff to pay, right? Like, I got a lot of debt. Just my Navient student loans are $515 a month for the minimum payment. But then I'm paying for the lawsuit stuff too. And just to put this out here, I make $45 an hour and I still can't afford rent. So that tells you kind of where things are. So yeah. SB says, how have your PayPal and Patreon been helping you? Do people ever donate, or is it hit or miss? Well, so SB, I don't use the PayPal that much, but I have had somebody who each of the last 2 months gave me $10. I don't mention it in the streams just because they've specifically asked me not to shout them out. So I do that, and then I do have 2 Patreon subscribers, but my base level is like $1, I think. Maybe it's $2. So it does pay out into my business bank account every month, but that money is actually just sitting there. I haven't done anything with it yet, just because I think it's a total of like $6 and something right now. I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, people don't give me enough money. I mean, I'm appreciative that anybody cares enough to pay $1 per month on Patreon, but I also don't really count on it for any kind of income. It's really just kind of something that's nice, and I appreciate people who want to do anything to support me. But I'm also not gonna, act like that's like one of my main forms of income, because it's not. And I mean, YouTube's really not either from AdSense, because even though I did have that one video that got a lot of views, it got like 2,000 views in 90 days. I don't actually make that much off YouTube, and it's been cut a lot recently. I used to make about $50 a month. Now I'm making like $12 a month. I don't know what happened, and that's even with me getting more views. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. But I also don't have time to look into it, so that's going to be a problem to look into and try to fix down the road. So what I'm thinking, SB says, yeah, YouTube has changed a lot. Hopes it's better. Well, I'm going to keep making videos, and even if, AdSense revenue doesn't come in that much, there's other ways eventually to make some money off of it. I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. Freshlight says, so once you are caught up with old bills, you should have enough to keep student loans and other bills current. Yes. So with the money that I'm making right now, I can support myself monthly. With what my monthly expenses are, I can support myself and maintain that. The big problem right now is I have what I call the debt list. And it's all the past months and all the things that didn't get paid for those months. So like one of my student loans, I think, is 4 months behind. It was like 6 months behind, and I've got it caught up. And the thing is, for like probably the last 6 months, I've made the payment for that month every time. It's just that there's this past due balance that's still on there from all the payments I missed. And I'm slowly getting it paid down. The beginning of this month, it was like $1,032 that was past due. Now it's like $895 past due. So you can see that over time, I get like an extra $20 or a $20 cash tip or something, and I'll like put it toward that. And I got a little more than $100 paid off in a month. But it's just an extraordinarily slow process of getting caught up on that stuff. But yeah, so basically after I get it caught up, then the extra money that I have won't be going to paying off old debts, and I can, well, hopefully save it, so that I can be, have a little more security. And I am on a payment plan with my large credit card, because that got super far behind. So I have to pay $206 a month for 3 months, and then it's all good after that. It's paid current. The second of the 3 payments comes out October 6th. So getting close on that, getting that caught up. Oh, and guys, I'm getting my teeth fixed, hopefully. Really hope that it's not that bad. So you guys know I went 7 months without getting a haircut. I finally got on a plan with that, so I don't look homeless, even though I am. But I still have not got my eyebrows done in a year. I'm gonna just do those myself. And the hair, I'm on a 6-week schedule. It really needs cut every 4, but just to save money, it's 6 weeks. Plus my haircut guy is gonna have me build all the new cabinetry for his house. So I'm caught up there, and now in early October, I'm finally getting my cleaning, which this is honestly just stupid. Like I was, you get a cleaning every 6 months, right? For your teeth. Well, that was what I was doing too. October 2019 was my last cleaning. Think about how long ago that was. It's 4 years, basically. Why have I not had a cleaning in 4 years? Well, because my next cleaning was supposed to be in April of 2020. So it was during COVID. They called and canceled it. And then they called me, so they canceled it, and then they tried to reschedule for, I think it was October of 2020, which would have been a year since it was done, but like just another 6 months after the last one was supposed to be done, so that made sense. But I was in Philadelphia, and I didn't know when I was coming back, so I never called them back. And then, of course, at the end of that year, I moved to Parkersburg. My life fell apart because of all the crazy stuff that was going on, and I've been struggling with money and everything. So that's another one of those things on the list that, like, I'm slowly getting caught up on. So it's not just debts, it's everything. I'm trying to get back on track with everything, and that includes maintenance to the car. It's just I have so little extra money that it takes forever to use the little extra money that I have to get caught up on things. I mean, that said, though, like, this isn't a forever thing. As you guys know, I'm building the business, and I will have more people working for me soon. I don't want to just like run the ad and get that done until I have the time to go run some advertising. But I myself am physically moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, and that will be near the end of November. And then after that, I'm going to try to get people in probably Cincinnati and Cleveland to begin with, maybe Indianapolis. And then as I'm down in North Carolina, probably Charlotte as well, maybe Asheville, and possibly even Atlanta. We'll see about that. But I am going to try to get at least one person in each of those cities, run some advertising, throw some work their way, and then I'll get part of what they make. So I'll have a little bit of money coming in that I'm not actively, I'm not actively going out and working. So I'll be more kind of like an advertiser and a dispatcher in that regard. So I know there's still a ton of people here. We got 26 on the stream, but not getting as many comments. So let me just say this. There have been a lot of comments today, and so we're 112 minutes in, and I haven't even like really made any announcements. But the main thing that I need you guys to know for probably the rest of the year, and maybe even until February of next year, is that I'm going to be extraordinarily busy. I still have these thoughts of like, oh, I still need to make that video, but then I can never find the time to make it. I'm still going to do the monthly live streams every month, but I don't know if I'll be able to get any other videos up until like end of February at the earliest. I really have to spend every moment I have either working on the lawsuit or making money just to get by, but also to finance the lawsuit stuff. So that's gonna be what my focus has to be, and it's gonna be basically what is going to, in the long run, be helpful to me. Because I know you guys are like, well, I know the opinions are mixed on the lawsuit, but this business that I'm building is going to be something even after the lawsuit ends. So yeah, okay, if I win $4 million, well, the business won't mean all that much because I won't need the money so desperately. But if I don't, or if I win a small amount, then I'm going to be really glad that in the meantime I built all of this. Elf, haircut guy is better than barber. Yeah, he's not exactly a barber. He's I don't know what he calls himself. He's kind of like a big manly dude. Like you think of him as like a deer hunter kind of guy, but he does hair, including women's hair. But he's also like just really good at doing fades, which is like a style of haircut. So I don't know. But anyway, guys, so that's where the thing for videos is. That's all I really know. And the plan is work, lawsuit, and I am moving south for the fall, so I will give you guys, I know I said I wouldn't promise any videos, but I will film something about me traveling down there, or something about me being, you know, in a new environment. You guys will get something to see that. I just don't know how much or what the format will be of that right now. But that's basically it. I'm not seeing any more comments coming in, so thank you guys for those of you who have been here. There's 23 still on. I appreciate you guys being here. And I will, for any, I see one last question. I'm gonna answer LA's question, and then I will end this. But yeah, for anybody who didn't get to see this live, I mean, just feel free to comment when the video goes live, because I read all the comments even if I can't respond. So LA asks, how did you pick Charlotte? And the reason that I picked Charlotte is I needed to find a place that was going to be relatively warm, because originally I'd planned to be in an apartment in Columbus by September. But now I don't want to get trapped in a year lease, and also I'm not going to have the money. And I don't want to put myself in a position where I have that big obligation of that amount of money every month. So I was like, okay, I mean, I can't sleep in my car during winter in Ohio, because I don't know if you guys have seen that. I don't remember which of the original Star Wars it was, the one with the ice planet. That's basically Ohio in the winter. So I like literally cannot sleep in my car because I will die. So I realized that I'm gonna have to go somewhere that's warm. Now, the good thing is my job, TaskRabbit, and also just the furniture assembly that I do off the side, I can do that anywhere. I can do it in any city that has TaskRabbit, and doing it on my own, I can do it pretty much in any city, anywhere that has a sizable population. YouTube, I can do from anywhere. And the only reason that I have to go home for anything is lawsuit stuff. But I do also kind of have a break in lawsuit stuff for a few months, where I'm not going to have to be going down there every week like I am right now. That's going to end kind of in the end of November, which is also usually around when the weather turns completely cold. So basically, probably around Thanksgiving time, I'm headed south. And the reason Charlotte is because, number one, it is, well, let me back up. So I'm in my co-working space right now. We have some locations in Charlotte as well. So I have a place to be and to work on my stuff down there. They also have my gym, so I have access to my showers. And driving wise, because I am going to have to drive down there, it is a straight shot. Yeah, I have to cross the mountains, but it's a straight shot from here to there, also from my hometown to there. And in an emergency, well, it's not an emergency, but like a lawsuit emergency, if I have to like next day be there for a hearing or something, I can do that. Charlotte has direct flights to Parkersburg twice daily, and it's only like $39 for the ticket. I think I saw if you get it like that day, it's like 70 or something, but like very discounted tickets to fly directly. So it's doable. I'm not trying to drive back and forth all the time, but if I get down there and have to come back for something, then I'll fly back. Because $39 is definitely cheaper than driving back. But that's why Charlotte. It does have an IKEA, so I should get plenty of leads for work, and it's warmer. Now, I know it still snows down there. I know it still gets cold, but I looked at the low temperatures, and it gets into the 30s. I can deal with that. It's in the 30s at night here now. I mean, it was in the 30s here in August. So, you know, it's not going to get colder there than it is now here. So I can survive a winter, even if it's a little cold and uncomfortable, but, you know, I've got blankets and stuff in the car, so I will be able to get by. And buying me that extra time of getting through the winter and then having the entirety of next summer to be able to camp in my car as well, that gives me the opportunity to not only to get the lawsuit out of the way, but to get that whole debt list paid off and to at least get myself current. And wherever the business is almost a year from now, it'll be much better than the place that it's in now. And we already talked about how if it weren't for the debt list, I would already be able to support myself just barely off what I make. So I'll be in much better shape a year from now, is basically what I'm saying. All right, so Elf says, I'm headed out, but keep your head up. Better days soon come. Well, I hope so. So, all right, guys, so that is all I'm gonna do. We've been on for 2 hours. Okay. So anyway, feel free, if you're watching this back later, comment. Still, I will still read it, even though I probably won't be able to respond, but you can still message me that way. I appreciate everything, guys, and thank you for watching. And if you would like, I do have Patreon. You can sponsor me for $1 a month, and it's much appreciated. But no worries if not. You can also send me, there's a PayPal link below. So if you want to donate anything to help out, you can. But if not, that's okay too. I don't expect you guys to give me anything. It's just always nice when I do get something. So I appreciate you guys being here. And yeah, let me know if you have any other comments. And otherwise, we will do this again at the end of next month.